everyone, I'm Laura Rogers and this is Power Hour. Welcome everyone. This is a show we do Wednesdays at 11 Central and we do various topics in Microsoft 365. I have an admin background. I was a server admin back when SharePoint was all on premises. But all of our topics we do here are not really super technical. They're mostly geared towards business users in Microsoft 365 and just all the different products in the Microsoft 365 suite. So we talk a lot about SharePoint, Power Apps, Power Automate, web parts, things like that. Today, you all voted on SharePoint site usage and analysis. The day before Power Hour, I send out a newsletter and I let everyone vote on the topic. So this is the topic you all selected. And so there are a lot of different things we have that we can look at that we'll dive through in my little demo environment. And we also have the live chat, so everyone say hello. We're using Teams. So wherever you are, wherever you're watching this, I've put a link below it that you can fill out a form. I have to manually invite everyone to Teams as an external user, but I have a form that you can fill out to be invited. And then once you're in Teams, then that's where we have the chat going, and you can watch the YouTube streaming in there and chat while we go. And that's the fun part, is you never know what's going to happen, and we just have these lively discussions and questions throughout. So let me go ahead and get my screen share up here. And I'll show you, first I'll show you Teams. So you go, once you're invited, you go into our Teams. You might have to click your name at the top and switch your organization to the one that says IW Mentor Power Hour. And then in here, you'll be a member of this team called Power Hour, and you go to the general channel. And then on the general channel, we'll have, just real quick, I have pinned the resources. So I always pin the resources for today in this one little discussion thread. So these are a bunch of links that you can click on to get the resources for whatever I'm talking about. And then you go to today's tab, today's 512. And then if you don't see this little pop-out chat, you can click this little button here that says conversation. And so then you can watch the video and chat, and there's everybody saying hi. So, hey, everybody. Okay, so let me move this back over here. And I've got a long list of kind of things to talk about having to do with SharePoint site usage and analysis. So here is a site. This is my iwmentor.sharepoint.com homepage. Now, for those of you who are Ultimate students, Ultimate members in our training at iwmentor.com, you've probably been to this page before, but I'm using it as a good example because it's got a lot of variety of people visiting it, and because I've got all of you as students in here, logging into your student account and going to this site. So I do have a couple of different tenants I'm going to be demoing. Like my WonderLaura tenant is one that I use just for pure demos, and it doesn't have a lot of users in it. So I'll probably be switching back and forth and looking at different ones. Okay, so first of all, you might have noticed this little analytics button that is showing on pages in SharePoint. Now, if you don't see, sometimes you don't see some of these settings, it might not have rolled out to your tenant yet. So this is something that we experience sometimes in Power Hour, because I'll just demo things right when they come out, but it hasn't rolled out to everyone yet. So that's just up to kind of whatever ring your tenant is in as far as how new the newest updates that they get. So you go to Analytics. Now this is for the page that I'm on. So I'm on a page, and when I click Analytics on the page, this is not my site analytics. This is just for that page. So then I've got the number of viewers has gone up. I can toggle to 30 and 90 days here. And then that's the people. And then I've got the page views that I can look at the number of views it's had, 129. And the average amount of time spent per user It's pretty low. It also, in their documentation, it says that the 90 days is not available. So it's got a 90 days button here, but it's not going to work. So I have my 30 days. Now, people are not spending much time. They're spending 1 minute, 19 seconds on here because most of the time people go here and they're going to have a link to their own student site, and they're just going to go to their own student site where they do their labs and things. So they're not spending that much time on the homepage. They're just clicking away. So that's the average time spent per user, and then my page traffic by time. So this is pretty cool. It's the traffic at like the time of day that they're using it. So it looks like we have, a couple of different people using it. It shows kind of the number of users and then the days of the week. And that is just for that one page. All right, so that's the page usage. And then we also have site usage. So that the way you get to that one hasn't changed. You can go to site contents and go to site usage here. And then if you are on a hub site, then it's automatically going to take you to the hub usage data. So kind of pay attention to that, because you might want to toggle. You might really just want to be looking at the site usage data. So we're going to talk about site usage first. All right, and then so here is my site usage analytics. I've got my overall traffic, and this is the 7, 30, and 90 days reports that I can look at. So I've got, and it even tells me the 90-day figure isn't available for this specific metric right here. So it's giving me the 30 days. So it's my unique viewers, my site visits, and then the average time spent per user. And again, the 90-day figure isn't available for that one. Popular content. Again, I don't have a lot of different pages on this site that people are going to. They're clicking away. I don't have any news posts. So, but I do have documents that I've been working on. And I have my usage insights. So most site traffic is coming from the desktop. So consider optimizing site content to offer a great experience on large screen devices. So not only is it telling me that 100% of my site visits are from the desktop, they're in the browser on their desktop, it's giving me a little suggestion, just letting me know that, when I'm designing this page and putting web parts on it, just kind of, I can use the whole broad real estate of the page and not have to worry about how it looks on mobile devices as much. And it tells me Monday at 8 a.m. is when most people have accessed your Sharepoint site in the past 12 weeks. So that's pretty interesting. That maybe that's when people start working on their labs, when they're going through their training. So Monday at 11. And then it's showing me a couple of things that I have shared with external users. So my external users report down here is interesting. You can get very specific and look down here at what is going on with each of these. So if I want to know, well, who is this shared with, I can go click this little ellipsis and click View Permissions. Now, if I've given it permission to a specific external user, their name's actually going to be listed down here. Like I had one when I first pulled this up, before I got started, I had one that was an external user that was listed here, and I was like, wow, I gave this person access to this file, 3 years ago. I didn't even realize I had that they were still in here. So you can go in here and quickly be able to remove people if you want. But this particular file, I've created a sharing link, and I've shared it with somebody via a link. And this is showing me exactly who I shared it with. And so she is, helping me. She's working on these files with me. So I shared the link with her. So you don't have to just see this link and then kind of wonder mysteriously like, oh, well, I wonder who's using that link. You can see their names here. And then I can share it again. And I can even get a copy of that hyperlink to that file if I want to go give someone else the link and share it. Okay, and I can click stop sharing if I just want to completely stop. And if I want to get rid of, if I want to see details of the link, I can go, add people to it, but I can also go change if they can edit or view and get very specific about what I'm doing with that external user on that specific file. All right, another thing having to do with the site usage is you have, let's go ahead and go to my modern demo and look at this one. Let's see. Site contents and then site usage. This one's just going to have a little bit of different data. It's got more pages on it than the last one. And see, it's got news posts. See, it's got more content that I've been clicking on. Of course, less users. All right, and then I've got, and this one, notice that what I wanted to show you is this one doesn't say that it's a hub site. It doesn't even have that drop down at the top right. And that other one that I was on, it has this drop down, see? So it's got the ability to toggle over to the hub usage data because it is a hub site parent, and the other one wasn't, so you're not even going to see that drop down. Zach says, if you click stop sharing, can you start sharing again with all the permissions remaining as they were? Yeah, sure, you can start sharing again. Because I noticed that it doesn't disappear from that little report immediately when you click stop sharing. So you'll be able to easily get right back into that little sharing pane just from that same screen, at least for a few minutes. So I've got my hub usage. Hub usage doesn't have as much. But it's got popular content. So this is all not just content from the site that I'm on, but in the whole hub, these are popular. These are actually sites that people have been going to. So these are the most popular content in the last 10 days. And I can even toggle it between unique visitors and the actual visits. So it's got, of course, unique viewers is just a handful, but then the actual times that they're hitting the page is there, it's way more. And then I don't have any data about site pages in this one. I have documents. So these are documents that I've been working on, and I can toggle it between unique viewers and visits. I've been working on my Power Apps Advanced class. I've been updating that lately. So I've been working on that a lot. That's why it shows here. And let's see. Now, another thing that we have is we looked at the file statistics and we looked at the site usage. There's another setting, though, speaking of the site. So let me go over to here and show you where that setting is. So I'll go to Site Information, Site Settings. So you have the ability to collect the names of your viewers. So I go to this, did a little search on the page, just Control F to go find viewers. So here, this is a site feature that you can turn on any site called Sharepoint Viewers. And Sharepoint Viewers is activated, so you just click the activate button if it's not activated. But what you get is the actual, it's logging the actual people's names who were viewing things. So let me show you what that gives you. It's pretty interesting. So then I can go to a document and I can say, go to this little hover card and look at this. It not only tells me how many views it has, it shows me exactly who has been viewing this. Isn't that neat? So I haven't even clicked anything. I'm just hovering over it. So now, so this is, Joelle, of course you can't talk because you're not on audio, but this, I feel like this is something that people have been kind of wanting for years, is to know, you publish news and you put it out there for everybody in your company to read. Who is actually reading this? So now you have the ability to see, we have a time to read, which is interesting, but you can actually see the people's names who are viewing each individual file in here. So, and I can even edit my at a glance. So this actually took some data from this file, 20 years of research, and it took some data out of the file and added it to that little at a glance, that little hover card. This has nothing to do with really site analytics. This is just kind of diving into what we just saw on the screen. And it lets you edit what it has when people hover over a file. So that's very specific. See this little at a glance, that's a blurb from the file itself. Pretty cool. Okay, and then we also have, so we went to a page in the Pages library. So let me just go to the Pages library again. You can always go to Site Contents and Site Pages. And of course, we were on a page earlier and we clicked on it and we saw the Site Analytics button at the top. But you can also go here and you can get that, that data about who exactly has been viewing that page. So all I did was hover over the name of it, and it's telling me who the viewers are. So just these 4 people have viewed this page 197 times. Yeah. Oh, cool. Yep. So that's what you can do for your pages. Let me see what else I had. File statistics. I'll just go to details over here. Oh yeah, so when I click 197 views, so I'm on the page and I go to the little information panel over on the right. Let me do that again so you can see what I'm doing. And I basically I just turn on this little information panel and I have this page selected. And then I can click right here where it says 197 views. And look at that, it's got a little chart that it's showing me of all the views over time and exactly who the viewers are for that specific page. Now it doesn't give you this file statistics little panel for documents. I noticed this is just for pages, but usually the pages are what people mainly, are interested in with when it comes to the statistics. This is what's on the IT page. So I've got analytics. See, the analytics tells me like the number of page viewers, but then to get to, let me go back over here. To get to that data, I go to the panel and go to view viewers here. So it looks like I'm the only viewer of this one. So interesting, there's kind of like little stuff here and there, right? It's kind of buried in different places. That is, Lisa said you have to turn this on for every site collection or you can turn on the hub level. It looks like it is a site feature, but I think that it's automatically going to be turned on. These are kind of older sites, but I can go check. Let me go to the admin center real quick and just look at maybe like a newer site that I just created maybe in the last power hour or something, and just look to see if that features are just already turned on for a given site. SharePoint Admin Center and active sites, and I'll just go sort it by the most recently created one, and then I'll know, go look at that, and I know that I didn't manually go turn that setting on this fairly new site. So let's go to the settings, site information, site settings, and then oh, am I not an admin on this one? Let me see. That is weird. Oh wait, they moved it over here. Sorry. The site actions was over on the right on that last site that I was on, and then it was on the left on this one, so I thought I was missing it. Okay, so I'll look for SharePoint viewers. Okay, so no, it is not turned on by default. So, and that is a per site. Now, as far as whether you can turn that on automatically, well, I know that with when you do page site designs, and we've talked about site designs before in past power hours, when you build a site design, in the design itself you can tell it which features to enable. So I know that you can do that in a site design. I don't know about There's probably a way, since it's just a feature, there's probably a PowerShell way if you wanted to go write a script and go iterate through all your sites and turn that on. But I don't know if there's a way to make it be turned on for all just generic sites that get created. I'm not sure. That's a great question. Hub level would be nice, says Jennifer. Yeah. Yeah, well, and that would be nice, but the hub unfortunately doesn't have anything hub level having to do with the SharePoint viewers. I guess that's why. So yeah, that would be good if you weren't still on the classic version of Pages. Now, I don't know if that setting still might work, since you don't have to be on the modern interface to be able to get to that screen that has the number of viewers, and you don't have to be on the modern interface to turn this feature on. You might still be able to get the number of viewers count on a classic page, but I have not tried that. Jonathan says the feature is just enabled to the members of the site. It is on by default for site owners. Well, the feature itself is a site feature. The feature isn't like per certain people. But yeah, this is for the people viewing. This is what counts and gets the names. But yeah, so the people's names that you see as far as people who have viewed a file, are you saying, Jonathan, that it's just going to show site owners' names in there unless you turn this setting on? That would be weird. That it just wouldn't show everybody else's names. Zach says this feature is specific to files and pages, but what does the analytics show without it on? This feature doesn't show in the analytics. The analytics screen just had like counts of people, and it had the number of views and the number of people, but those little specific dialog boxes I just showed you on the individual files and pages, those are the ones that show you the viewers' names, and that's what that feature does, is it gets their names for you in the people who have viewed this page little thing. Okay, cool. Anne just said she just tried it on a classic page and it seems to work the same. Cool. Mandy says, have I had a session on all these site features? No, most of these are not something we use anymore. Back in the old classic days, these were very important, and these were things that we had to kind of know about and turn on and off all the time. And I had a whole section in our training about this stuff. But as Microsoft has moved more to modern, they tend to rely on a lot of these features a lot less. So I was actually kind of surprised that this was something that you had to go into the list of site features to do, because it's pretty rare. And a lot of these are very obscure. So we've talked about like some of these topics here and there in Power Hour, but it wouldn't be worth the time to go try and like go through every single thing and what it is, since so many of them are very old. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's see. Jonathan's saying, when you go to site pages and view a page, you'll see the page viewers if you're an owner without having to enable that feature. Cool. All right. Yeah, Zach said, just watch all the Power Hours. All right, so we looked at the file view on HoverCard, the hub usage, and site usage. You can run a report of external users. So now that we've looked at some of like the pretty charts, let's go back to this one, and I'll go not on the hub. On the hub usage, notice you don't have the external users concept. On the site usage reports, that's where you are seeing the external users' name, and this is actually a separate report, so you can run this report down here separately from downloading site usage data. So once you are looking at these pretty screens and then you want to take that information in a spreadsheet and you want to do something else with it or send it to somebody, you can take your site usage data and just click this little download button. Could have sworn I just clicked a little download. Let me refresh this. Oh, there it goes. I just clicked it twice. Okay. So then when you download the site usage data, this gives you a spreadsheet. So it's telling me, you know, some of the numbers, and then it's giving me all these very specific dates and hits. And then that's my overall traffic. And then it gives me my popular content, which are, it's got a news post and some documents that people that we click on a lot and the number of clicks. And it's got usage by device. So this is going to tell me for every single day how many desktop visits, mobile visits, and things. We don't get any mobile app visits, apparently. And then the usage by time. So this is all the details of all the times of day, if you really want to drill into that. So that is the site usage download. And hub usage data, notice, doesn't have that. So let me go back to, it keeps toggling back to hub usage. Oh, because I refreshed the page. Okay, so then separately, so that spreadsheet that I just generated didn't have the external users in it. So this is a separate report. So then you click to run the report for external users, and it asks you where you want to save it. And I created just a folder called reports, or I could actually create a new folder if I wanted to. And then I already did this, so I'm not going to click save. So then it puts the file in the document, the main document library, in whatever folder you told it to go to. It doesn't let you pick which library. It just assumes that you're just using that main documents library. And so this is the one that I generated, this one a couple of years ago. And here's the new one that I generated. Lisa says, how do you get 90-day data? For some of those, the ones that say the 90-day is not available, it's just in the documentation that they don't have 90-day at all. Like, it's just not something that they are providing yet. They haven't added that to the product yet. I don't know why this is taking so long to open. Come on, Excel. Okay. So now we have, this is the detailed list about the external users report. So this is very, very detailed. It's telling me not only external users, but it's got all these different usernames here, and it's telling me exactly what thing is shared with who and at what permission level. So that's, again, just a very detailed report. And it tells me, see, it says external here. So external is going to point out all the external people and what they have access to. She has access to the Power User Training file. All right, and she has access to this old file. But she's not external, she's internal. Anyway, so a detailed report about that, which is again separate from the rest of all the different reporting you can do on that screen. All right, now we can get to, let's see, what other questions do we have? Yeah. And those links that I shared with you over in the post, all the resources about the site usage and the page usage and all that, they have in their descriptions, they tell you kind of all of that stuff. We also have page diagnostics for SharePoint. Have you all seen this? This is cool. This is a Google Chrome add-in. It's probably an add-in you can do in Edge too. I just happen to be using Google Chrome. So I can go to a page and I can go to this little add-in, Page Diagnostics for SharePoint. I put a link to this add-in in the list of resources. Let's go look. I'll just go look at my extensions here. I'll go to more tools here and choose extensions. And I can see that I've installed Page Diagnostics for SharePoint. And again, you just go to that link that I shared with you, and then you can install it too in your browser. And then once you've installed it, it's not automatically going to show in these little buttons up here. So what you need to do is click Manage Extensions right here. Oh wait, sorry, not Manage Extensions. See this little extensions, little puzzle piece? They make this kind of odd to get to. The extensions puzzle piece. You click this, and then that's where you can do the little pin. And then when you pin it, that's what makes it show across the top. So what happens when I do page diagnostics? So it's telling me, okay, page diagnostics for SharePoint. I'm on the page, so this is the page that I'm analyzing, and I click Start. And it's taking a few minutes. And then I've got another one. Let's see if it messes with my my broadcast. It might, because it's actually doing network analytics too. So I'll go to another, I'll go to my modern demo site here that I've got a lot going on this site, and I've got a Power Apps web part on it and stuff. So then I'll go to page diagnostics for this one and start it too. I'm really taunting the demo gods, aren't I? Okay, so look at that. So this one's finished. Public CDN is not enabled. Now, when we had the Power Hour where we talked about the organization assets library, we talked about that concept of CDN. So this is going to give me more information about what that is. That gives you the ability to cache static assets. So you have the ability to really fine tune. It's something you have to turn on via PowerShell, but you have the ability to fine tune and make sure that especially images and things are going to be coming across in the most efficient way. You have them stored in a certain place, like in your organization assets library. I am not giving you a very super technical description of this, but I'm going to take this link and copy it. And I'm going to post it in that little list of resources there. There we go. If you want to turn that on. So I don't have that turned on, so it lets me know. Let me go back to my little report here. And Microsoft web parts are impacting load time. Any built-in web part that takes longer than 2,000 milliseconds to load impacts page performance. So my highlighted content web part, it's calling it out. So it's saying that this one is taking too long. So I think this, I have a couple of different highlighted content web parts on this page. This one on the right is probably the one that it's talking about. And then it's got all of the things that I did right that it's not fussing at me about. So I have all images on the page are smaller than 300 kilobytes each. Yay me. And then fewer than 25 SharePoint requests. Page weight is smaller than 500 kilobytes. No web parts that use iframes. That's good. No extensions take longer than 1,000 milliseconds to load. No structural navigation detected. Fewer than 5 extensions used. So that's good. So I don't know what every single one of these things is, but if you had something wrong with it, it would give you a link, a little helpful link, and it would give you more information. And like with the one that I had wrong, it shows me, takes me to the page telling me how to fix it. Let's go to this other page that I ran it on. So, this page contains one large image. So the link to get site logo, whatever image that is, I have to figure that out and go, maybe take care of that, go down, get that image and go compress it. I'm not sure off the top of my head how to be able to tell. That could potentially just be this site logo here, like literally this thing. I might have just put a pretty big picture that I uploaded when I just picked something off my computer to upload as the site logo. So I think that's probably what they're talking about, this one. And then one or more web parts using iframes. And yep, Power Apps. So my Power Apps web part is using iframes, which it just says it slows down page performance. So that's something to note if you ever want to insert Power Apps on your pages using the Power Apps web part. Kind of keep that in mind, that it's going to slow your page down. When it comes to the Power Apps web part, what I've found is that what I usually like to do is, instead of embedding Power Apps on a page in SharePoint and having people go to it that way, I'll usually just get the URL to the Power App and then put just a hyperlink on my page in SharePoint to take them to the Power App, which will just open it in a new tab or just open it up like in full screen. And that way, first of all, you're not slowing down your page, and then also you're not confusing the end users, because I've seen them, fill out something in a Power App and then try to click maybe buttons in other places on the page in an attempt to submit a form or navigate around in the Power App. So if you open just the Power App by itself on a screen, you don't have to worry about the end user not clicking the right thing in the Power App, because all they're presented with is the Power App and you have more control over what they're going to try and click. Zach says, and I thought my diagnostics was themed in red. So that's about that. And then I've got this page is using the content delivery network. So on that previous Power Hour where I talked about the organization assets library, I actually did the PowerShell and turned on the CDN and ran that. So you can feel free to go back and look for that Power Hour. It was a few months ago. And then it's just giving me all these little green checks, letting me know that most everything is fine. And then it also has a network trace. If you're really super nerdy, you can dig into your network trace, which I'm not sure what I would need to be doing with that. So sorry. And I can export my network trace to JSON. Anyone think that's interesting, or why you would do that? Okay. All right. So that's page diagnostics for SharePoint. So everything that I've talked about so far, these are all things that are geared towards just regular old site owners, business users, just all things just in your SharePoint site that just most people will be able to get to. Now, I'm going to go ahead and switch gears and show you all a little bit about more high level. What do you all think? Any other questions about things on the pages and on the files that I've been talking about? Just let me know. But and I've done other Power Hours where I talked about logs and analytics and did just pure admin stuff. So now this is just going to be a kind of both. Nick said, when did that extension start working with modern sites? Yeah, I don't know when, but it's good. It's good to have, right? And I think you can do that extension in Edge, because I think all Chrome extensions can be done in this new latest version of Edge. Okay, so now that we've talked about all the page stuff, I'll go ahead and go to add to the admin center. I think I already had it open. Let me go here. Okay, so you may or may, again, most of the things that I teach in my classes and in Power Hours are geared towards business users. And when I start showing you things in the admin center, then even if you're not an admin, at least you're kind of familiar with what's available in there and what's possible, so that if you know who your admin is, you can go ask them, and you'll be able to tell them exactly kind of what page to go to or what report you need, maybe. So you'll have that knowledge. All right, so I have two different things. This productivity score is, from what I can tell, it's an extra cost. So I'm not going to delve into productivity score. Yeah, this is pretty new. So I'm mostly going to be talking about usage here, but productivity score is the combined total of scores for people, experiences, and technology experiences. So this is brand new. We might have to do like a whole other Power Hour about productivity score, but I'm not even going to go there because I've literally never seen it. Usage is good old usage reports that we're kind of used to seeing. That Microsoft's rearranged this a little bit over time, but it's a lot of the same concepts it's always been. So I can look at my active users and all these different products. There are just a few things you can see on this main dashboard, like the number of users and the number of files stored and the number of SharePoint files. even some forms that I can look at. That's going to be Microsoft Forms. We have no Skype for business activity, which is good. And it even tells you what browser, if people are using Edge. And I'll show you Power BI in a minute too. So the one I usually go to, I usually just click View More here. And this is going to give me activations, and it gives me specific names. These are all my like little fake people here. It gives me Microsoft 365 apps usage, and it gives me like the names of these different apps like Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Teams, and platforms like Windows versus Mac versus mobile. Mobile, we got none. And then I can export, and this is all the details, so I can see all the people's names and I can export these. And then I have active users. I look at this a lot over in my IW Mentor tenant to see how many people I have in there working on their labs and things. So this is where, again, I can see active users in specific products. And then I can see daily activities and services. And I can export this and I can get all the details about every single person and every single service and the last time they logged in, and their login dates, their usage dates, and all that kind of stuff in Excel. And if I want to do something with that. And then I've got my groups activity. And these are my Microsoft 365 groups. And I don't have any multi-geo distribution. So, yeah. So those are my usage reports. Any questions about usage reports? Let me see what else I have in here. Oh, here's my Teams usage reports. User activity. And I've got my licensed users, and it kind of tells me what they're doing in here, like chat, meetings, and things like that. So if I go to my other tenant, let me see. I'm going to pull this up because it might have some more interesting data in here. Boards, usage, and then Teams. And then I can see I got my student names down here and what they've been doing. And then you can see there's more activity in here because Joelle and I, we have all our meetings in here and things like that. The other one's just a demo tenant. But now I can see I've got, mostly we use chat, and I can expand this out past 90 days. And again, you can just see specifically what they're doing in Teams. And are we using Teams on our, what kind of devices are we using? We're using the web a little bit. I have an iPhone, and Joelle has an Android phone, so you can kind of see nobody has Linux. And then you can export all the details. Larry says they're a connector to Power Platform to get data in apps and BI. Let's see if usage, it has Microsoft 365 apps. So, no, these are just the like Outlook and Word and things like that. Let's go see, because I'll show you the Power BI report next, but I don't see anything about Power Platform stuff in here. All right, so let's go look at Power BI. Okay, so I'm going to go to Power BI. Okay, so let me show you how I got to this. So when you go to Power BI, now you may or may not have Power BI license, but so if you don't have that higher level license, you probably, like if you have just an E1 or something, you probably still have your My Workspace. So you can create, you can get, you can do reports and things, just you can't share them with anything. They would just be in your own workspace. So that's kind of the limitation. So I just created this in my own workspace. And what I did was I did home, and I did I just did this kind of right before we got started. I did get apps. See, this is the one that I found, Microsoft 365 Usage Analytics. So, right here. Tygraph is awesome, by the way. That's John White, Microsoft MVP buddy of mine that I downloaded some apps of his before for analytics as well. They have all kinds of stuff that they do. But this is the one that I clicked on, Microsoft 365 Usage Analytics. I have an old one that was called Office 365 Adoption or something, and that one's out of date. It's not even called Office 365 anymore. Report doesn't work anymore. But the Microsoft 365 Usage Analytics is the one that you want. So you click here, and it takes a couple minutes, and you click to install it. And I did install it. So since I have it installed, now I can go to apps and I can click on it. And I can now it starts off with just some fake, just sample data when you go in here. And then it'll have a little bar across the top saying, this is just sample data. Do you want to connect it to your own tenant? And then you click yes, and then you're prompted to tell it what the GUID of your tenant is. And then you just paste it in a little box and click OK, and then it just takes a couple minutes and it generates this whole thing. So it's got all these tabs. So it's got my executive summary, and you know, executives love to see pretty charts and dashboards and things like that. Oh, right. Yeah, Nick, you're so right. We haven't done that in Power Hour yet. The Power Platform Center of Excellence Starter Kit. And that was something you might have noticed that I had put as something to vote on a couple of times before Power Hour, but we just haven't done one about it yet. But yeah, the Power Platform Center of Excellence Kit is what is going to give you a full suite of all your usage, specifically around the Power Platform. Thank you, Nick, for reminding me about that. Yeah, it's just separate from all this other SharePoint and Teams and OneDrive stuff. Okay, so we've got the executive summary that is clickable. So when I click on something in the executive summary, it'll take me to these pages. So I've got my adoption tab, and it's even got it down to month. I've got my usage. This is so pretty. This is amazing looking. Look how cool that little ribbon thing is. I've never seen a chart that looks like that before. So that's pretty neat. I like that. So it's got this cool, I wonder what that's called. I'll have to dig into that and crack it open and see what that, what's it called? What are all the different types of graphs called? Help me remember. I know y'all are on a delay. Lori said, how do you know your tenant's GUID? I feel like it might be one of these GUIDs up at the top, but what I did was the way that I know to do it, and again, it's probably in the URL I was just on, but I went to Power Apps and I went to just an app and went to details, and look at this. It says tenant ID equals, and that's where, because I know that's the tenant ID, so I went and got that GUID and just copied that and then pasted it in. So that's a great question. Visualization. Thanks, Marie. Okay, so my go back to Power BI. Okay, visualization. I'll have to go see what that visualization is called. That is really pretty. So again, and I've got communication, and this is I love just digging into these when you go in and crack it open and start editing it and figuring out what the visualizations are and getting ideas, because I'm not very creative. But anytime I need to create something in Power BI, I kind of have an idea of what I want it to look like, but I'm not creative enough to be able to just kind of think of something cool like this. So I sometimes I'll use just like this kind of out of the box Microsoft report to just get as a just creative, just to be able to get ideas for how to do things in Power BI and see how they did things. And so I've got all those tabs, and I've got activation licensing, which has got activations and then licenses assigned. That's another very pretty one. And then product usage, which is got a tab for each product. So I can go to SharePoint and I can see how many sites I have, teams. That's pretty cool. And then user activity. Again, this is all my little fake users. So I can see the users using Exchange, OneDrive, SharePoint, and it's by product here. Department adoption. Oh, that's an interesting one. I like that. Users inactive in all of Office 365. Most of them because they're just fake users. And then it tells me people that are in Exchange, OneDrive, SharePoint, and Teams. And I wonder what happens if I click on that. Oh, when I click on it, it just kind of filters it. Yeah. So that's a good one. I like that. And then I can... Okay, so this is coming from the department column. So when you're filling out, we always talk about your Active Directory user information and all of your user profiles, and having an accurate, your department column and your manager column and all of your user profile information, kind of keeping that up to date in Active Directory. So that's going to be really helpful when you are running a report such as this, where I just want to be able to see, well, let's look at the IT department. That is where that comes from. That is from the user profiles. So that's how I can narrow it down to look to see how well the IT department's doing. And then I can say, well, I'm in Alabama. So that pretty much narrows it down to just me. I'm the only one in the IT department who's in Alabama. So I can go back up and select them all. And look, see, there's Georgia. That's where Joelle is. So pretty cool, right? Nick says it's called a ribbon chart. Go figure. It looks just like a ribbon. Awesome. Yeah. That just about wraps it up. Any other question? That is so cool, by the way. I love this report, this Power BI report. Really, really neat. And so many things that you can click on too, because you can click and filter it by pretty much anything you click on any screen will filter it down, and kind of change the graphs and things like that. It's all interactive. Oh, Art said, how did I find the tenant ID? I went to a Power App and I just went to the details of a Power App, and it says tenant ID equals in there. So it's like 9D3CCEE1, whatever, which is probably, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it up here, that same one in the actual Power BI on that screen. So yeah, I went to Power Apps. That's just because I know that's where it is, and I know that it says tenant ID equals. So that's my go-to place. I'm sure there are lots of places you can get your tenant ID. All right. Anne says in the business application event last week, they mentioned a tailoring of permissions. Hope that means local admins get more insight like this. You have a concept of roles. Now, I don't think that's going to apply to Power BI, but more in that main center, in this reporting admin center, you have roles. So I've never fully tested this. I'm always just me, the global admin, but I'm pretty sure that there's a role that's just somebody who can look at reports, like a report viewer. I feel like we've talked about this, but I don't remember off the top of my head. Let me just search. That didn't help. Oh, see, look, see, it lit up the word reports. So Insights Business Leader, that is a very fancy role name. So that's going to let that person read some kind of reports. So yeah, it looks like some of them give you access to different report. Oh, here it is right here at the top, reports reader. So you can make somebody a report reader if you want somebody to be able to see these, but that is completely unrelated to what they probably were talking about in the Business Application Summit, because that was all about Power Platform. So we'll have to dig into that COE, the Center of Excellence kit, pretty soon. Thanks. Yeah. Oh, report viewer role. So Lisa says she uses that. So yeah, there you go. And this is even more granular. It says they can read usage reports and productivity score, but they don't give them the access to all those user details that we saw at the bottom. So if you wanted them to have like a more high level and only the high level view, that's pretty interesting. Yeah. Okay, let me see. You can make them feel really important by telling them they're an insight business leader or whatever that was. Okay, let me close that and go back to all right. Now that kind of wraps it up. So that was a really good one. We went through a whole lot. We went through all of the different levels. So we had file level and page level reporting and analytics, and then at the site level, at the hub level, and all the different kind of granular versus high level details that you can look at in all those different places. And then since we had some time at the end, I went ahead and went to the admin center. We looked at some reports there. And then we looked at Power BI, which had like the absolute prettiest reports. So that was a fun one. I think we got a lot covered. So thanks everybody for coming, and we will vote on something to do next week. I'm not sure. We'll see what it is. So sign up to get our newsletter to be able to vote for the next topic. And thanks everybody for coming. Over and out. Oh, next week, sorry. Next week, I'm teaching my online interactive 3-day Power Apps, 2 days of Power Automate class. And you can go to iwmentor.com and click the schedule button. And that's all week next week. So you all check it out and see if you want to attend. I am still having Power Hour 2 though. See y'all next time.